So deploy Tomcat, Docker Compose with the Docker. Docker Compose. So today we'll discuss about the deploy Tomcat application with the Docker Compose. So let's see, guys. Docker images, right? We can download the Docker image from the EC2 is Docker Compose. Docker images. Docker PS-, Docker PS-, it is up and running. 3 Docker. Docker stop. I'm stopping all the containers, guys. So before that, I will show you, guys. I deployed 3 applications. One is nginx, the other one is Apache, so the other one is the Tomcat. Guys, in the Tomcat, so you see the container port 8080. These are the same port numbers for the two Docker containers, but it mapped to the host port 81, 83, and 82. Okay. So I deployed 3 applications. One is nginx, one is Tomcat, another one is the Apache. So right, you can create number of containers, and create the number of containers. Where is this, guys? Yes. Yeah. The IP address of this physical host machine is something like. So this is the so this is the 83. You see, 83 is the nginx, the same IP address of 83, 81, 81 is Apache, 82 is Tomcat. So 82 is Tomcat. Right, guys? I deployed 3 applications in the one, 3 containers. I'm running 3 containers, 3 applications in the one container, guys. Guys, understood? Guys,
Yes, sir.
yeah, thank you. Docker compose, right? One second, I will show you that create that compose file. Yeah. So the Docker Compose. So what we need to add? We need to add the version, services, and volumes, right? For example, so I'm writing the Docker Compose file, guys. So version equal to 3, services. In the services, what is that? Application, right? Application. So what is the application? Image. Image is Hare Krishna. Apache Tomcat. Yeah, let's take it. Apache. So what is the image? Image is from, so Hare Krishna, Apache. Right. Ports. So what are the ports? Ports is hyphen. What is that? I'm giving 95. 95 is the host port, and so this is the container port. Okay. So network. Shall we give the network? Port networks. Ports networks. Tomcat. Bluejay. Tomcat iPhone. Net. Okay. So volumes. Yeah, volumes. I'm not giving anything else. Okay. Volumes. Okay. Networks. Networks. Bluejay networks. Let's see, guys. So this is our application. This is the file. Docker Compose file. Okay. Yeah. We. Shit. Root. Red hat. This is my iPhone user. VM. Docker compose.yaml. Okay. WQ. So this is the Docker compose file. So I will build the image from the Docker image. So then, so from that we can up that one, guys. Okay. Mm, Docker ps hyphen a Docker ps hyphen a Docker stop. This is the container. I'm stopping everything. Removing everything. Docker ps hyphen a. Nothing is there. Docker images. So we have a Nginx image, Apache image, Tomcat image. So from the Tomcat image, so we can build the Docker file. Okay. Docker hyphen compose. Here it is. It is showing it. Use here Docker compose of hyphen D. ML parser error while parsing a block mapping. Notice that, guys. Version 3, version 3, services, application, image, ports. This one also I'm going to remove it. Okay, ports, image, Hare Krishna, Apache, application, inside, ports, ports, version, services, Mhm. application, image, ports. Okay, done. Docker compose up -d. So creating a network EC2 even user default with the default driver. Creating EC2 user application. Done. Docker PS. Docker compose -ps guys. PS. Yeah. So in the foreground, one application is running. Docker PS. Open. Okay. So how you can up your services, something like we have a number of containers. For example, in the Docker, we have a 10. So here you deployed the another application. So something like application is Tomcat, something like, okay. So the same way you can create. Is Tomcat 9. This is just Nginx. This is just Nginx. This is 96 guys. I'm giving IP address. What is Tomcat? Apache. Apache is running 8. By default, 96. Nginx is 96. I'm giving the 97 port guys. Okay. WQ. It is one application. For example, this is Apache. Or this is Tomcat. Giving this is Nginx. Okay. This is Nginx. Is already put it up. 95, 96, 97. Two are running. The port one is allocated. Why? Let's remove this one. Actually, it will work while using this port, whatever the port. The host port is different, right? So Docker Compose VS, you see, 80 80 80 95 96. Let's check it. 95 96. Okay. Well, yeah, 96 Tomcat is working fine. Slash lab pixie. Yeah, this is working fine. Hmm. So Nginx is working. Right. So this is a Docker Compose, guys. So now you understood. So we can write the file. You can write the file and so something like image is in our artifactory. So you can provide the artifactory URL. For example, you can provide the artifactory URL. Something like a port, network. So everything will be provided by the provided here, guys. Yes, understood. So this is nothing but a Docker Compose, guys. So something like you can check the app logs, app container logs, for example. Or we can check the app container logs. So Docker logs, app container. So Docker logs, app container. What is the container, guys? App container name. What is the container name? Docker ps hyphen a. What is the container name? Okay, so this is the reason why. So this one also created Docker start. This is the Nginx Docker RM. Okay, Docker PS hyphen A. So what is the container name or container ID? Docker logs. So I want to check the container logs. So could not reliably determine the server's fully qualified domain name using to set the server name directory globally to the message. Hmm, yeah, so we can provide the container name, app container name, guys. So the container name, db container, app container. So these are the containers. Okay. Show databases. So display databases. So we already discussed it, right? Docker compose commands. So what are the Docker compose commands, guys? Guys, no worry about this. So we have a Kubernetes, right? Just listen. So no need to practice also. Okay. Create containers using Docker compose. Docker compose up. Create containers using different file name. Okay, so we can create it. Docker compose hyphen f file name up. Okay, so run the Docker container. How you can run the container? Run Docker containers in detached mode. Now you can run the Docker hyphen compose up hyphen d. The next one is display containers created by Docker compose. Okay, Docker compose. Yes. So these are the commands. You guys can just use it these commands. Okay. How to check the Docker display Docker images? How you can display Docker images, guys? Docker compose images. Check good Docker container logs. How you can check the Docker container logs, guys? Docker logs, hyphen f containers. Okay, so this is the command. So how you can stop and start stop to start to remove Docker containers. How you can start a containers, guys? Docker compose down. Okay. So these all are the Docker compose commands, guys. Is understood? Yes, guys. So the next is stateful versus stateless containers. So what is the stateful and stateless containers? Stateless container. Data will be deleted after container got deleted. Guys, stateless container is nothing but a data will be deleted after container got deleted. Something like is there any data is there in the container? That container will be deleted. The data will be deleted after after container got deleted. So right, stateful is nothing but stateful container. Stateful container. So what is a stateful container? Data will be maintained. Data will be maintained permanently. For example, app server, DB server, app container. This is a DB container. What is this? This is the app container. This is the DB container. So whenever the app container deletes, the data will be deleted permanently. So the DB container, the database will be, if the database container is deleted, the data will not delete. So the data will be maintained permanently. So in the schemas or something like, right? So there is permanently. So the Docker containers are stateless containers by default. So note guys, Docker containers are stateless container by default. Okay. So Docker containers are stateless containers by default. So in the above application, something like right, in the application we are using the Tomcat and right something like if we are using the database container also DB container, if we create the DB containers. So DB containers, for example, we take the MySQL DB container or something like a Postgres or something like Oracle, right? These all are the DBs. So Oracle DB. So whatever the DB, that data will be, so that will be data will be data. So these are stored the store the data, right? These are to store the data. Whenever we create the container, the container we lost our data. This is not accepted in the real time, right? So even if we deploy latest code or if we recreate the containers, we should not lose our data, right? So if the app container contains the only that front end and back end, no need to worry about it. If data something like in the database, the data will be stored, right? If the data, DB container deleted, so we will lose the data. But so when we create the container, we lost our data. This is not accepted in the real time, right? Even if we deploy latest code, if we deploy latest code or if we recreate containers, we should not lose our data, right? If containers are deleted, whatever it may be, we will not lose our data. So for that, to maintain data permanently, permanently, we need to make our containers as a stateful container. Okay, the containers as a stateful container. So to make container as a stateful, we need to use Docker volumes concept, right? So we can use the Docker volumes concept. So what is Docker volumes, guys? We can use the Docker volumes concept, right? How we can use it, I will show you. Yeah. So this is the container and this is also container, right? So we can create the Docker volumes or we can in the instance only. In the instance also, instance having the space, right? So we can create that space. We can create the directory or something like directory. This is the directory. So this directory will be mounted to the containers. This data will be, this directory will be mounted to the containers. If container crashes, if container crashes, So we will not lose the data. Will not lose the data with the help of Docker volumes. The help of Docker volumes. It's just container running, but the application or something like the data or something like application will be stored under the Docker volumes only. Guys, understood? Yeah. Docker volumes. Yeah, I will show you this. Yeah, you see, Docker volume, something like a container one and container two. So we'll create the index.html in the host machine, EC2 instance. If the container deleted, if this container deleted, so the index.html will not delete, right? Because of so this the index.html is not in the this container, not in the this container. So you created it in the Docker volumes, right? So Docker volumes mounted to EC2 machine also. So we have to maintain the EC2 machine also, something like yeah, you see how we can share the data from one container to another container. So we can use the Docker volumes. It will share the data. Yeah. So you see, so this is the Docker container. So this is nothing but a mounting the bound volumes named as a mount bound volumes. So Docker container. So we can create the directory in the EC2 mission and we can attach it to the task. This one also we can do it. So host directory mounting to the Docker container. Host directory mounting to the Docker container. Yes, understood? Yeah, once. Right, volumes. Docker volumes are used to persist the data which is generated by Docker container. Docker container. So Docker volumes are to persist data which is generated by the Docker volumes. Volumes are used to avoid data loss. Okay, and using volumes, we can make containers as a stateful container. Stateful container. Right. We have three types of volumes. We have three types of volumes in Docker, guys. So one is what is this? Anonymous. Anonymous volume. There is no name. The second one is named volumes. Named volume. The third one is bind modes. What is that, guys? Bind modes. So how you can display the Docker volumes. Docker volume ls. It will check the Docker volumes. It will check the Docker volumes. Next one is create a Docker volume. How to create the Docker volume? Docker volume, create volume name. Inspect Docker volume. How to inspect the Docker volume? Right. Docker volume, inspect volume name. Remove Docker volume. Docker volume rm volume name. Okay. You remove all volumes. Dollar Docker system room hyphen volumes. Guys, understood? So this is the command. Docker volume ls, Docker volume create volume name, Docker volume inspect, Docker volume rm, Docker volume home. Right? So then we'll check it. Guys, root red hat. See, see, root, okay. So what is that, guys? Docker volume ls. What is that? Docker volume ls. So these are the local volumes, local. So how to create the Docker volume? Docker volume, create volume name. Volume doc, Docker volume, Docker volume, okay, Docker volume is created, right? Docker volume, inspect, all life one, Docker. So this is the Docker volume created, guys. So where it created, where lib Docker volumes. This is the path in that where wall doc is created. Okay, the name is wall doc. Okay, how to remove this Docker volume? Um, inspect. There is no volume. Okay, Docker volumes we can create by using this guys. Docker volume helper, Docker volume name, Docker volume ls, Docker volume inspect, Docker volume remove, Docker volume prune. Right. Docker pull nginx, Docker run hyphen name, web nginx, access static website using EC2 VM public. So this will discuss on tomorrow, guys. I will show you something like if there is a if it is deleted, what is the issue? So how you can create the host files in the Docker volume? We'll discuss tomorrow, guys. Okay,
Okay.
this is an important topic, guys. You guys can listen carefully. Docker volumes. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, guys.